What is up guys, so today for this video we're taking a look at Han Solo, everyone's favorite smuggler in Star Wars Battlefront 2. So today for this video we're going to be talking about his abilities, we're going to be going over his star cards, some of his strengths and some of his weaknesses, and also showcasing some gameplay for you guys so that you guys can see how I play with Han Solo in Heroes vs Villains and also in Galactic Assault. So before I start off this video and get straight into everything, I just want you guys to know that when you're playing Han Solo, as he is a blaster character, you are going to be targeted a lot in Heroes vs Villains, especially because saber wielders find blaster heroes as easy targets. So when you're playing as Han Solo, even though he's got very high damage, you're going to be a target no matter what. Any saber wielder sees you in the game, you are going to be a target no matter what. So you always want to make sure you're on top of your game whenever you're playing as Han. You always want to make sure that you're keeping an eye out on the minimap so that when those enemies are coming up behind you, you can then either use your detonite charge and hopefully get away from them, or use your shoulder charge and actually push them away from you. So without further ado, I'm going to get straight into this video guys, and let's take a look at Han Solo himself. So jumping straight in, we're just taking a look at Han Solo star cards, and you guys can see which ones I use on the bottom row there. Whenever I play Han very aggressively, always on the offense, and these star cards, they benefit my play style of playing offensively more than the other ones. So I'm going to explain why I use them and also show you guys some gameplay as well as to why they are beneficial in a lot of situations as well. So we're going to go into the next video now, and I'm going to try to explain the star cards uses and those type of things. So the first star card that I use is called Smuggler's Wits, and it should be on the screen right now so that you guys can see. The reason why I use this star card is because it gives Han the ability to have 3 rolls. So instead of having 2 by default, if you have the star card, it gives you 3 rolls. In the last scenarios where, like, let's say you went up against a saber character, they're going to be constantly applying pressure to you, where they're going to be constantly up in your face and they're going to be constantly trying to defeat you. In this scenario, I like having 3 rolls as it gives me the ability to back out, roll, create some distance between them, shoot them a little bit in the head, roll back out again. And because they're going to have just 2 slashes by default, because I have the star card equipped, I'm going to outnumber them because I'm going to have the ability to roll 3 times, whereas for a normal saber character other than Dooku, they are going to have the ability to only do 2 slashes. So having this star card is really beneficial, as like I mentioned, it gives me the ability to roll 3 times. However, it does have a downside where it does increase the cooldown of my abilities, which is really unfortunate sometimes, but at the same time I'd rather have the ability to roll 3 times compared to just having standard 2 by default if I didn't have the star card equipped, and then just put myself at a disadvantage, especially when it comes to going up against a saber character. The next star card on the list is called Airburst, and the reason why I use this one is because it gives Han Solo's detonite charge a 20% damage increase. I cannot stress how good this ability is. This is arguably one of Han's best abilities out of his whole kit, and arguably one of the best abilities in Star Wars Battlefront 2 for all of the heroes and the villains. This ability, it does bonus damage when you throw it, and if you actually detonate it before it hits the surface. So a lot of the times in some of my games that you guys are going to be seeing, I'm going to throw my detonite charge, and before it reaches the ground, I'm going to detonate it straight away so that I can get that damage increase, which is 20%, which is very good in a lot of situations, because the detonite charge, it's so good because, for one, if you detonate it, a lot of times if enemies are all clustered up, it will do ridiculous damage and you'll get a lot of multi-kills. Another good thing about this as well, if a saber character is blocking, it does, especially when it does connect with them, it does stagger them, which is really good, as sometimes you would actually see some saber characters just fly across the map because of how ridiculous the blast radius of this ability is. This is Han's greatest weapon in his kit, beside his DL-44 blaster. And the final star card that I use is called Heavily Modified Blaster. Benefits of this star card is that it allows Han Solo's DL-44 blaster to build less heat when it is firing. It has a 25% decrease in heat built when firing. So like I mentioned, when I'm firing shots and stuff, it allows me to fire way more shots before the blaster overheats. As Han Solo's DL-44, it has a very slow rate of fire, however it does ridiculous damage, especially when you get those headshots. Han's blaster is arguably the strongest blaster in this game for all the heroes and the villains in this game who are blaster characters. I find that this star card works really well with his middle ability, which is his sharpshooter ability, as this actually allows me to fire more rounds with the sharpshooter ability compared to just normally if I didn't have this star card equipped. In the last situations, whenever I'm going up against a saber character or even another blaster character, I always try to make sure that I land as much headshots as I possibly can, depending on the character that I'm going up against, as I'm going up against BB19 right now. So it's not really like getting headshots really. However, in the last scenarios, like I mentioned, Hans Blaster, best one in the game. His damage for his blaster is absolutely ridiculous, and it's one of his greatest assets as well. This blaster does ridiculous damage, and because of the reticle of it as well, it can also be used as a sniper as well. When you're playing on maps, maybe on crate or maybe on half, because the reticle is so small, it's a little circle as you guys are seeing on the map right now, you can literally just fire this off little by little, maybe 1 shot, 2 shot, depending on how many shots you generally want to shoot, and you can actually land those headshots. Hans Blaster, like I mentioned, is really good. So right now you guys are just seeing a little bit of gameplay in Galactic Assault, so you guys can see in another game mode other than Heroes vs Villains how I particularly play Han. One thing that you guys will always realize, like I mentioned, is that because I do have that star card equipped, most times I'm going to look where enemies are, maybe like a bunch of them, I'm going to throw that detonite charge and I'm going to detonate it as soon as I think that it should be within range of specific enemies. It's really good to do so, because in more scenarios, like as you guys are seeing in this gameplay right now, if there's a saber character and they're just within a bunch of enemies and stuff, you can just throw that detonite charge, wait for it just at the right moment. If you think that it is within range of enemies, use it, and then I'm telling you, you will rack up a lot of kills. One thing I can mention as well, especially when playing Han, and I think a lot of new players should keep this in mind as well, is that he's kind of like a glass cannon. He doesn't really take damage too well, and I think that's mainly just because he is a blaster character. Compared to saber characters, they're a little bit more tanky. However, Han, like I mentioned, a little bit of a glass cannon, so do keep that in mind as well. You're not really going to be going up against an army of stormtroopers or other saber characters and think that you're going to be able to withstand like 100 hits from them. That's just not going to happen, because like I mentioned, Han being a blaster character, he just doesn't take damage that well, but showing damage, extremely good. And a little tip as well, especially for new players and also veteran players as well, if you're going up against, let's just say Boba Fett as an example, and he uses his concussion rocket, and they have that star card equipped where it actually disables your blaster from firing for a short duration of time, as how long the star card actually allows it for. If you use Han Solo's middle ability, which is his sharp shot ability, it actually overrides that blaster heat ability. So let's just say you get concussed from Boba's rocket and your blaster isn't firing anymore. You're just stuck with the animation where you're trying to wait for it to actually cool down so that you can continue using it. If you use his sharp shot ability right after that, you are going to be able to fire your shots instantly. So that's just a little tip for you guys, just to let you know. Another thing as well to keep in mind as well is Han Solo's shoulder charge ability. Let's just say you're going up against a saber character. Let's use Darth Vader as an example. Vader's blocking, you're just shooting at him, he's just constantly blocking, and your shots are not hitting him whatsoever. You're trying to figure out how much defense does this guy actually have, like how many shots do I need to shoot at him so that his stamina runs out, so that he's unable to actually block anymore. One good thing about Han Solo shoulder charge is that it does knock enemies down when you use it. So a lot of times you might find a saber character that's holding block, and because you're firing, they're just holding block, they're deflecting the shots back at you. Use the shoulder charge ability. You can cancel the ability as well, so you don't have to use it and then just expect that you're going to be facing down an army of enemies who are just going to obliterate you as soon as you use it. You can cancel this ability as well. So for me, as I'm on PlayStation, I just hit my right trigger, R1 ability, I use it. If I realize that the character that I'm going up against is maybe evading, then I just press it again and I do circles so that I can back out and I can cancel the ability so that I'm not putting myself in more danger. So I highly recommend using this ability as well, as you guys just saw me do there. A lot of times, like I mentioned, especially if it does connect with a character, it is going to knock them over, and in most scenarios sometimes it just sends them flying, which is absolutely funny sometimes to just see people like fly over edges and cliffs, like when you use Han Shoulder's ability. It's really good, situationally useful in a lot of situations, I would say. However, at the same time, it does have its benefits as well. Another good tip to know as well with Han is that, let's just say you're firing some shots with his DL-44 blaster, Normally you're just about to overheat your blaster. If you do use his middle ability straight after, it actually will override the heat animation and you'll be able to actually fire with this ability. So you go in, you're firing some shots at someone, your ability overheated, you didn't time it properly, you can just use your middle ability straight after and it will actually allow you to keep firing, as you will be in the animation for the sharpshot ability as well. As Han's blaster, it actually has a slow rate of fire. I would highly recommend trying to aim headshots in the lower scenarios as well. Let's just say you're going up against a group of enemies, maybe some stormtroopers, maybe some droids, depending on the map that you're playing as. Regardless, you're going up against enemies, regardless, I'd always highly recommend going in for those headshots. Han's blaster is no joke, and I can't stress that enough. And new players, and I'm pretty sure veteran players as well, they're going to realize that Han literally has the potential to do ridiculous damage in more scenarios. You can use his sharpshot ability straight after, and with this it actually allows Han to fire his blaster with rapid fire shots, which is really good, especially if you want to drain the HP of an enemy really quickly. So let's just say you're firing normally, you can't really land your shots, unfortunately. Just use the sharpshot ability, hold down the trigger and aim in the position of where you'd want to go. And if your aim is really good, I'd highly recommend going for headshots as well, and you'll see how fast that you actually drain the enemy's HP as well. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed this Han Solo hero guide video. So I really try to go over like some of Han's his strengths, his weaknesses, and also talk about why I use specific star cards, as I understand that everyone is going to have a specific way of how they play the heroes and villains in this game. Some people may use the exact same cards I'm using, some may use maybe one or two, and some players might just use none at all, which is completely understandable. Everyone has a different play style of how they play their characters in this game. So these are just mine. And I do hope that this video actually helps new players in particular, as I do understand that there's going to be a massive influx of new players coming to the game, especially on PlayStation. And I'm pretty sure that there's going to be a lot of new players in Heroes vs Villains who are going to pick Han because he is a fan favorite. Everyone likes Han. However, it's always good to actually know what his abilities do, how can you actually maximize his potential, and make sure that you're actually contributing to your team so that you're not dying all the time and you're actually racking up some kills as well. So I hope that you guys have definitely enjoyed this video for my Han Solo hero guide, and I hope to see you guys more on the channel. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Do subscribe if you are new, do leave a like on the video as well, as it's highly appreciated, and take care guys. Thank you for watching.
Great shot, kid. That was 1 in a million.